welcome to Atlas. Okay, so tonight we're going to kind of go over some documents that I found that Patriot Underground shared on his Telegram. I've never actually seen these before. Some of you maybe have, but I definitely haven't. So I just kind of wanted to go over some of these because they're pretty interesting because they're done through NASA. And these documents in particular were done in July 2001, which was just a couple of months before 9/11. So let's kind of go over some of this stuff because I'm not going to go through everything in it. I'm just going to go through some of the snippets that's in it, but all of this stuff is projected for 2025. Now, when you actually go through the document, you will see that there is actually a lot of this stuff that is present right now. Okay, so I'm going to screen share this in just a second, but I have to go back up to the topic. Sorry, I'm new. All right, here we go. Okay, so this is future strategic issues and future warfare. Now, the top part is kind of just the highlights of what is in this document. There is some crazy stuff in this thing, and it even like specifically mentions CNN for one of the places that they'll use. They call it CNN syndrome, okay? But it talks about robotics and future technologies and all of this stuff that's happening right now. So let's kind of go into some of this, and I'm going to show you who is involved, okay? So this was based with the work with people like DARPA, US Air Force, the National Research Council, Army, Australian DoD, and for you guys that are living in Australia, your poor place is just being ripped apart right now by all of these jabby regulations. I'm so sorry. The C_A, all of these groups right here are involved in all of this, okay? So this presentation is based upon all cases, existing data, trends, analysis, technologies, okay? So they're already here. They already knew that these were things that were available to them, okay? So now we're gonna go to we're gonna skip over to like page 9. And it talks about how humans have taken over the planet and vastly shortened evolution. But then it talks about this huge public work right here. And the example that they use is the Three Gorge Dam. Now, you guys know that we in this community have been talking about that dam in particular for like 3 or 4 years. So I think that's really interesting that they are specifically mentioning that dam. Then it talks about the human species and the genome or geometric design and repair. And then it specifically mentions mind children and Moravec. Now, Moravec is a artificial intelligence and robotic research. So who knows what they're doing there? That just sounds like some crazy stuff to me. Okay, so let's go here. It's talking about the ages of technology. And IT was 1950 to 2020, okay? But then it skips down to bio and nanotechnology in 2020. And then after that, it'll be virtual. Let's go down to here. Okay, so quantum computing initially available in 5 years. Now, remember, this was in 2001, so they're saying that the quantum computing would be available in 2006. 15% of all power today is used by computers, and then we'll reach 60% by 2010. Then it talks about wearable implantable technology on people, electronics, comms, computing, brain stimulation, health monitoring. I mean, this stuff is nuts. Okay. And then it goes into like different things with the brain and stuff that they're funding during this time. But now check this out. Look at this. By 2025, 40% of private and 15% of public colleges and universities are expected to close due to web-based competition. Okay, now think about how much easier that got from this virus. How many people have already taken their kids out of school? And honestly, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of a lot of colleges. I'm not a huge fan of how school is being conducted in general. I think that they could do a lot better. I don't really feel like people need to spend 8 to 3 in public school like it is right now. And I think colleges are just a ridiculous way of spending money. And I think that you could speedline things a lot faster if you actually went to college for something that you wanted, instead of having all of these other filler classes, and instead just training in just that particular thing, very hands-on, right there, and training with the people in that group. Like if you're wanting to be a doctor, you go straight into that and you train with doctors and you do all this stuff, instead of sitting there like having 4 years of all of these other filler classes. I think it's just a waste of time. I just feel like it could just be streamlined a lot better, and people could actually get into their jobs a lot faster if it was taught hands-on and you went in there knowing that that's what you're going to do and you went directly into that, instead of wasting all of that time and hundreds of thousands of dollars within the college system. But back to this. So it's talking about all of this stuff being closed because of web-based competition. Now think about that, okay? Because right below it, it talks about the ultimate education approach, the plug and play. Now this freaked me out because it talks about direct silicone or other device type of connection to the brain, a very rapid upload, education in minutes instead of many years. So they're talking about basically implanting you with whatever they want you to know. Now that's freaky. But what's happening is we have been conditioned for at least a year and a half to already kind of get out of the public school system, because the requirements that they're making people take is not necessarily what people want to do, because they don't want their kids going to school with this on their face. Okay. So, and it's to me, I just think it's wrong to even do that to a child. I think that that's abuse. Actually, I don't like the fact that a kid is actually walking around smothered. And also to add on to that, you have to think about what is going to happen in the next few years because of what these kids have been put through. I mean, for the past year and a half, they have been having to wear these things on their face, and that is going to cause some issues, especially for the young ones, because they have been, I mean, that's a long time in their life, So I think that's going to cause some issues later on. But this whole virus thing is totally preparing people for this. It's already kind of pulling them out of the public school system and getting them more situated at home where they can do their own education. Now, I'm perfectly okay with homeschool. I think that is fantastic. I love that idea. But this whole idea of implanting and all that, I'm not, I will not be okay with that ever. Okay, so now we're going to go to this one. Nope. Okay, so it's talking about self-replication of robots. This is crazy. And then at some point in this document, they actually talk about how one of their main concerns is that AI is not controllable, that they will not be able to keep it under wraps and to have a control over this. Okay, and then we're going to go to 34, no, 43. Okay, now this one talks about the microdose weaponry, sorry. Okay, so right before this one showed up, it was talking about smart dust and how nano dust as well will take the place and be put basically on everything. And that'll kind of just be infiltrated through our air and through the wind streams and all of that stuff. Now, this is talking about the microdust weaponry, and that it is distributed as an aerosol and inhaled into your lungs, and then this dust bores into your lung tissue and gives you pathological emissions. So they're saying that this whole weapon that they're able to use is 100% legal. And that's a new class of weaponry. Okay, and then it talks about here about some weapons that are available in combat, but look at this one in the bottom. Beam weapons, increasingly prevalent. Okay, so now what have we been seeing? You know, like that one in Tennessee, I believe that was a beam weapon. The one in the other country, where was that at? Beirut? I don't know. It was at that shipping port. That was totally a beam weapon. That was not something that just happened there. You know, like all of these things are already starting to show up, and they're saying this in 2001. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing that. How do I do that now? I'm so sorry. Okay. All right. So when we talk about this, you know, this was already planned. And it also reminds me of like the Georgia Guidestones, you know, like that. If you guys don't know what that is in Georgia. There are these big erected granite stones that on there, they have all of these kind of rules for man. And one of the top things that the first one listed is that you need to keep the population under 500 million. Now, this was done by a guy who went by an alias. So his alias name was RC Christian, but nobody actually knows who he was. Nobody knows who he was affiliated with. He actually contacted the granite people himself, and he only dealt with 2 people to have this thing erected and made. So who knows what group he was in, but you know, like the thing is that the dark cult, whatever you want to call them, the Illuminati, whatever, they have been planning this for a really, really long time. I mean, it's not like a 10-year plan, a 20-year plan. It is a 1,000-year plan. And the thing is that they don't deviate from this plan. You know, like they will die knowing that that plan will not be, that plan will not happen in their lifetime. And they're perfectly fine with that. So what I think right now the danger is, you know, we hope that the white hats have this, right? But the problem is when you deal with people like this cult, they will go down with the ship. The ship could be burning, but they're going to go and get even more bombs and a lot of other guns and go down and kill everybody on it, even knowing that they're going to die as well, because they want to take as many down with them as they can. It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter what happens. For them, the goal is the same. They might change the path that they use, but the end game is the same. They want to control. That's it. And they always control by fear. Now, on the bottom of this, I don't know where it is. Let me see. This actually talks about, at the bottom of this document, it actually talks about CNN and about how that they will use them as like, they call it CNN syndrome, and how that they will use the media to spread widespread panic and fear everywhere. They'll show deaths on screen. It actually says that in there, that they'll show people being murdered and killed and everything like that. And it'll be used to make us freak out and make us controlled. I mean, I can't believe I haven't ever seen this. I knew that people were like this, but I have never really seen these documents before. So I was like, oh, that's insane and totally believable, by the way. But the thing about it is all of this stuff is already taking place right now. And in there, they even talk a lot about cyborgs and robots and different things like that. And I think for a lot of people, they can't get on board. They can get on board with some of this stuff, right? But they can't get on board with clones. They can't get on board with cyborgs or anything like that, because to them, they don't think that that technology is there. You know, and I think that one of the hard things about this whole movie is you still see these people, or do you? You know, you think you do, but do you realize the power of CGI? I mean, I think that they're purposely putting stuff out there. Like, for example, Drew Barrymore, she had a show. I don't know if it's still on. I just saw little snippets of it, but this show fascinated me because of the way that they do it. And if you haven't seen it, it is all done with CGI, the whole thing. She will be sitting in a studio, and then all of a sudden her guest is beamed in. And this person looks like she's there. She's sitting in a chair. The shadow is there, guys. I mean, everything looks real. And then all she has to do is go and walk right through it. It's not real. These people are in a studio in a green screen, and it's all projected inside of her studio. It's the same thing that they do with Barack Obama and Oprah Winfrey when they did their interview months ago. They showed how they did that as well. And I think that they purposely put these things out there to show you that what you're seeing is actually probably a trick on your mind. And I think what's also hard for us is we still see some of these people out, and we're like, man, I had heard that that person was arrested. I hope they're arrested. But yet Hollywood is gone. I mean, like, their main people are gone. So I think that a lot of this stuff is done with CGI. I also think a lot of these people are face mask and different things like that. Now, can I prove that? No. But I think we saw that with Biden when his hand went through the mic. And I don't believe that's Biden either. I'm sorry. I will fight that until the day I die. That is not that man. If you look at pictures of him from 5 years ago, that is not the same person. He doesn't act the same. He doesn't look the same. His ears are different. He has a dimple here that I never had before. That doesn't happen from plastic surgery. I've had people actually sit there and say that he had plastic surgery. No, that's not what that is. Sorry, that doesn't happen. But the thing is, you know, there is so many tricks that can be played on our mind. And especially when you think about something and someone says, okay, Biden is coming on the stage, or your mind naturally projects that Biden's going to be there. So it makes it even more believable when he comes on. So you don't really notice the subtle differences unless if you're paying attention. This happens all the time. But the thing is, you know, I think that there's a fine line that you have to be careful of. I think there's a fine line of how far you can push this movie. Just like with all the stuff that they're wanting to do with the troops. You know, if you push stuff like that too far, you push people too far, you're going to start a civil war. People come to your house saying that you have to have a shot. People are going to die over it because people are going to be flexing their Second Amendment rights. And that's the reason why they want those rights taken away. Because when they have that, I mean, good grief, guys, we are the largest army. We have the army, and then we have the American people that are armed. We are our own army. We are the largest army pretty much in the world because almost the majority of Americans are armed. Now, do we all know how to use it? I don't know. But still, it's a scary prospect for them because they know that we have that. And that is a direct threat to them. So I think that there's, like I said, there's a fine line here. You have to, this is something that you have to tread carefully. And I think it's something also that the American citizens, you know, the white hats, I believe, are in control. But you have to stand up as well. You have to go to your school boards. You have to go to your bosses and say, no, I'm not doing this crap. I'm not taking this toxin because you think it's safe for me. Guys, there is hospitals. Now, I just heard this yesterday from a girl, a friend of mine that's on Facebook. Her daughter is a nurse. Now, she is refusing to take the jab. However, her hospital says it's mandatory and that they're putting you on leave if you don't take it. But do you know what they're doing instead? They're bringing in travel nurses for $4,000 a week to come into these hospitals. Instead of paying the people that are actually their local, they're going around them and dishing out $4,000 a week to travel nurses that complied. I mean, that's just insane to me. Don't tell me that it's not all about the money, because it is. The Bible specifically says money is the root of all evil for a reason. Do I think all rich people are bad? No. But it is a very big driver in a lot of things. The pharmaceutical industry doesn't make money on healthy people. That's why I believe their goal is to pretty much keep you sick. Think about our food. You know, in that document that I showed you, they are talking about genetically modifying your food to cut down on the population. And in the Georgia Guidestones, it actually talks about controlling reproduction. How do you control reproduction? Through medication, through your diet, through toxins. Do you realize as a woman how much toxins we put on our body every day? I mean, I just heard this recently. I can't remember the number, but it's a lot. Your skin is the largest organ in your body, and women use lotion, they use makeup, They use hair products. They use underarm deodorant. They use perfume. And each thing basically has about 15 ingredients in it. And they're not pure ingredients. They're terrible for your skin, especially deodorant, because deodorant has aluminum in it and it messes with your brain. They put these ingredients in there knowing that that's what's going to happen. And then we're glorifying this beauty industry. And they're doing the same thing. I mean, they're purposely putting out these people like Kylie Jenner and all of these TikTok people and celebrities and all of this stuff to try to influencers, to try to sell us on these products. And they sell, of course. But, you know, we get caught up in like the visual of it. We don't really think about what it's actually doing to our bodies. And the truth of the matter is, it is hurting our health. You know, like the other day when I talked to Omega, we were talking about what the frog meant that is used in the 18-1 movement. And that it's the frog that jumped out of the boiling water. This is how a lot of stuff around us has happened. It's because we have sat there and allowed these things to just slowly be conditioning us. Just like this thing for the past year and a half, where we've allowed, through fear, these things being put on our faces. And it makes it to where it's conditioning us. So now we think that we cannot live without them. I mean, these people are sitting there strongly believing that that works. Medical people. This cracks me up a little bit because they're medical people that's sitting there saying this to you. But I don't think they are really paying attention to the size of a virus. It goes straight through that. It is like, it's like a mosquito and a chain link fence. A virus is so tiny. That is not going to help you. When they do viruses, when they work on them in a lab, they're actually in like hazmat suits with like oxygen in the back. But this paper thing on your face is going to protect you. It's not. And then I can't believe how many people actually say that. I really can't. And medical people. And I wonder how the indoctrination runs deep. You know, I mean, you sit there and you are trained in this stuff and you want to believe what these people have to say to you because they're specialists. So they're sitting there training you. You go to seminars and they're telling you everything of the newest technology, all the newest drugs, everything that's out there now. So of course you want to believe them. Everybody wanted to believe Fauci. He's a moron. I mean, that guy is so deep state, it's just ridiculous. But everyone wants to believe him because of how high profile he's been for all of these years. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever seen that lady, the whistleblower lady that had come out a few years ago about stuff with Fauci and about how he tried to silence her. And now she goes around and meets with a lot of groups of people and tries to re-educate them. But he ruined her life. I almost think that she went to jail for it, or prison, because of what he did to her. Be careful of people in high positions. Sometimes they are not there because they're voted in. Sometimes they're put there. And then the money keeps them there. And then the money controls what they do. Basically, those people are just puppets on a string. And they're being controlled by someone else higher than them. The deep state doesn't look at us as, they look at us as animals, as cattle, not as humans, because they don't, this emotion, love, all of that we have as human beings, consciousness, like having a conscience, I'm sorry, having an actual conscience and caring about other people, they do not have that. They don't possess that at all. And anytime they pretend to do that, it just comes off as a big acting game that they play. And they play on people's emotions. Because I think that a lot of people just assume that everyone is like them. They don't really want to see this darkness that's out there, but it's definitely there. They have blinders on. And I think that actually there's something kind of beautiful about that, but at the same time, it's carried us into where we are today because we haven't addressed this evil. Before it was really hidden, and it was hidden really well. And now, like, technology has been a double-edged sword, hasn't it? Because now we found out a lot of this stuff that they've been doing for a long time. They've been using technology to kind of control us. And now we use technology to dig and to find out who they are. So that was a lot longer than I wanted it to be. I thought it was going to be a few minutes, but I got a little carried away. But thanks for joining me tonight, guys, and I'll see you soon. I'm hoping to have a really special guest next week, and Omega will be on soon again because we kind of got cut short the other day. So I'm hoping to have him on again, and we'll have some more like really great people pretty soon. And I'm excited for you guys to meet all of them because they're all fantastic. So I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.